The factory that was going to build 240,000 electric cars a year will now build zero, and nobody knows for how long. Honda announced this week it's indefinitely suspending a $15 billion electric vehicle complex in Ontario, the single largest auto investment Canada has ever seen. The complex was supposed to include a massive assembly plant and a 36 gigawatt-hour battery factory. Construction hasn't even started, and now it may never happen. This wasn't a quiet postponement. Honda posted its first annual loss in 70 years, a $3.68 billion deficit that marks the company's worst financial year since it went public in 1957. The loss came from $9 billion in restructuring costs, almost all of it tied to walking back electric vehicle commitments. Honda didn't just suspend the Ontario plant. It canceled every single EV it had planned for North America, the 0 Series SUV, the 0 Series Saloon, and the Acura RSX. All three were supposed to be built in the United States. All three are dead. The mechanism driving this isn't mysterious, it's a collision of policy and demand. Trump-era tariffs hammered Honda's bottom line to the tune of $4.1 billion across fiscal 2026, with $2 billion of that coming from duties on parts and vehicles moving between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. At the same time, electric vehicle sales in North America collapsed. First quarter 2026 deliveries dropped 27% year-over-year. Hybrid sales, meanwhile, hit record highs. Consumers decided they wanted the efficiency without the range anxiety, and automakers built the wrong product at the wrong scale. Honda isn't alone in this retreat. Mazda delayed its first dedicated EV by 2 years and slashed investment by half. General Motors laid off 1,200 workers at its Oshawa plant in Ontario and moved production back to the United States. Stellantis idled its Brampton facility. Ford cut shifts. Thousands of jobs have vanished from Ontario's auto sector in the past 6 months, and the Canadian government, which had offered Honda up to $5 billion in subsidies to build the plant, is now threatening legal action to claw back money from automakers who took incentives and then walked away. What makes the Honda suspension especially stark is the gap between the promise and the abandonment. The Ontario complex was announced in April 2024 with ceremonial fanfare. It was supposed to create over 1,000 direct jobs and anchor Canada's electric vehicle supply chain. The timeline had the plant operational by 2028. Now, Honda says it's pivoting to hybrids and extending the production runs of models like the Accord and HR-V until around 2030, meaning no major new vehicle launches for years. The stakes here aren't just about one factory. Canada invested heavily in the belief that it could become a North American EV hub. It offered tens of billions in subsidies to Volkswagen, Stellantis, and Honda. Volkswagen's battery plant in St. Thomas, Ontario, is still moving forward, but the pattern is clear. The EV build-out that was supposed to replace lost manufacturing jobs is stalling out before it even begins. The Ontario plant was designed to produce more vehicles per year than most countries build in total. Instead, it's a $15 billion commitment that exists only on paper, suspended indefinitely, with no restart date and no clarity about whether Honda will ever return. Honda's financial filings cite the volatile policy environment surrounding EV incentives and fossil fuel regulations as a core reason for the cancellations. That's corporate language for a simple reality. The company bet that North America would move faster toward electric vehicles than it actually did, and the cost of that miscalculation is now being measured in billions. The Canadian government, meanwhile, is left with subsidies committed, infrastructure planned, and nothing to show for it except a growing list of automakers who promised jobs and then disappeared.